So a long, long time ago, back in the days when making wishes was still effective, it was kind of like the ancient Amazon. You know, when you order something on Amazon and it comes through the post, it was kind of like that, but a lot more supernatural. There lived three princesses, and the youngest of these princesses was the most beautiful girl in all the land. So beautiful that the sun, even when the sun shone upon her face, it became jealous. Like in summary, she was fit. She was really fit. And these princesses, they lived in Giant Castle, obviously, with their father. And by the castle, there was an old, dark, enchanted forest. And the princess used to like to go into that forest. And in the middle of the forest, there was a wishing well. And the princess had a favorite toy, which was like a golden, gleaming ball, a little bit like the snitch in Harry Potter. And she used to like to sit on the edge of the wishing well and throw the ball up in the air and catch it. Like everybody knows what's going to happen next. She's sitting throwing the ball by the well, the giant well. Not a clever princess. Beautiful, not so clever. And so she throws the ball into the air, grabs out to catch it, but not the most dexterous princess. The ball plummets into the deep, dark depths of the well, and she sobs and she cries. She cries so much that even the howling wind feels pity for her. And then, after crying for 48 hours by the well with no food or water, she hears a little voice. Why are you crying so much? She looks down. I'm trying to watch fucking Love Island, and all I can hear is you're crying. It's doing my head in. She looks down, and there is a little tiny, slimy frog. Oh, the princess says. Hello, tiny water splasher. I'm crying because I lost my ball, my precious ball, down this big, deep, dark well. And the frog goes, I can help you. And she goes, you would help me? He says, yeah, if you shut up. And she says, if you help me, I would give you the crown upon my head. I would give you the shoes upon my feet. Whatever it is, just name it. The frog looks at her and goes, anything? Anything? She's a little bit creeped out, but I mean, she's a princess. She's probably got daddy issues, and is spoiled all the time. So she's just like, whatever you want, just get me my ball. So the frog, who could have asked for anything in the world, says, I just want a companion to sit with you at your table, to eat with you, and to sleep with you in your bed. All I wish is companionship. So she's like, fuck it, brill, mate, a mate. Get me my ball, we can be mates. The frog swims down, brings up the ball, gives it to her. She's happy, she goes home, doesn't really think much of it, goes to bed with the ball. So the next day, her and her sisters and the king are all sat in the great hall, eating falafels and fajitas. And she hears a little tiny knock on the door, and the king goes, daughter, go and answer the door, because I am the king and I don't do things for myself. I mean, you know who it is, don't you? She opens the door, and there's the slimy little frog dude, just like, yo, what up? I'm here. I'm here to have a good time. And she slams the door, not expecting him to turn up, her heart pounding. And the king goes, who is that? And he said, she explains the story from the day before. And the king goes, if you made a promise to that frog, you gonna goddamn keep it, girl. You let him in. So she lets him in. He hops up to the table, but you know, he's a tiny frog, he can't reach. So he reaches up and goes, pick me up, to the princess. And she goes, I'm not gonna pick me up. And the king says, you better pick her up, girl. So she lifts him up reluctantly by his little slimy hands and places him next to her. Like, at this point, she feels sick watching him eat. Like, but he dribble. I don't know if you've seen frogs eat, but it's not nice. Like, she can't even finish her fourth fajita, and normally she has six. Her food was ruined. So after food, the sun sets and it's time for bed, and she goes, I've had enough of this. I'm going to my living quarters. And the frog looks at her and goes, the promise? And the king goes, "The promise girl." He's a very moral king. He's a Camp Californian king, but he's a very moral Camp Californian king. So she takes the frog by his little foot up to her bedroom and places him on the floor. It's like, "I'm going to sleep now." And he looks at her and goes, "Put me in your bed." And she goes, "But you just sleep there." It's like, "That wasn't the deal." And so reluctantly, she puts him on the pillow on the bed, and she makes a little barrier with pillows in between them, and she's just like, "Right, it's time to sleep." And he goes, "No." She goes, "What?" "No, I want my bedtime kiss." This actually triggers the princess. She gets fucking pissed. She's not gonna stand for that shit. So she grabs the frog and she throws him as hard as she can with all the force of 1,000 tractors against the wall. And no sooner but the second that he strikes the wall does he turn from a frog into the most beautiful prince, chiseled cheekbones that could cut through steel, but lifeless and limp upon the ground. "For fuck's sake," says the princess. I mean, like, she's been looking for the perfect guy on Tinder for months. She's gone on really bad dates. Like, you girls know how it is out there. It's hard to find a decent man, and she is pissed. And also, her dad was going to be mad. Like, her dad was going to be super, super mad. So she had to make it look like he committed suicide. Like it wasn't her fault that he'd croaked it. Like it wasn't her fault that he'd hopped onto the other side. Like other puns. She'd seen this episode of Breaking Bad where they melt a body using hydrochloric acid, which hadn't been invented yet. But in those days, there were laundry chutes that went into the bottom of the scullery in the castle. So she was like, "I'm gonna dispose of the prince through the laundry chute." So she took the body by the toes and threw it into the laundry. And no one actually found out. And it's really quite difficult to draw any kind of meaning or any kind of morals from this story at all. At all. Yeah. I hope everyone has a nice morning.